is I see it all the time as an instructor practicing autos. Is people get too slow. You're too slow. You're too slow. I mean, well, you just lost your airspeed.
Stored energy, altitude, airspeed, and RPM. You should have these things on your mind when you're out there flying and making your decisions on during a takeoff, on your landing, flying cross country. If you're thinking about the 3 forms of stored energy and have the mindset that if I have all 3 of those, my chances of dealing with emergency are pretty good, or a failure of some kind. If you take away any one of those 3, not saying you can't survive and not saying you won't have a good outcome, but your chances are less likely to come out and walk away. It is something that should be going through your head because, again, the scenarios are endless. Takeoff, landing, cross country, no matter what it is you're doing, if it's just something that's in your thought process, maybe you're flying along and you're a little bit too low, go, you know what, if I had an engine failure right now, like here we are, we were open fields just 60 seconds ago, now we're over a city. Try to keep that 3 forms of stored energy, and it's a check right question. Examiner may very well ask you about what are the 3 forms of stored energy, and why do we care, why are they important? And then you can add to that, Chris?
In a helicopter, RPM is life. That's what
Absolutely.
If you lose your rotor RPM, you will literally fall out of the sky.
Right, you're screwed.
Yeah. And you're not going to get it back. I mean, there's an old video of an R-22 that fell out of the sky because he got the RPM too low.
Yep.
The rotor RPM too low. I mean, literally, he falls out of the sky like a rocket. And once you lose that RPM, you can't get it back.
That's the one you saw at the Robinson factory safety course?
I did.
Yep.
Yeah, RPM is life in a helicopter. And if you lose that RPM, there's nothing you can do. As I see it all the time as an instructor practicing autos, is people get too slow. You're too slow. You're too slow. I mean, well, you just lost your airspeed. We can play with that a little bit, but we got to have some forward airspeed when we do that auto. You'll learn about it as you go through your training. You'll read about it. Your instructor will discuss it. You just got to have those things to help you get to the ground in case of an emergency.
Absolutely. RPM, altitude, airspeed. And there are going to be those times where certain situations you can't have the best of all 3, but some takeoffs and some landings, depending on the situation, you can be lacking in those areas. So what you do is you just try to avoid those times where you know you're a little behind the game. There are times during takeoff and landing in certain phases of flights where you're doing the best you can. You can be lacking in one of those areas. That's just by nature of the maneuver that you're doing at that time.
When you're doing for takeoffs and landings and you're doing confined areas, if something should happen and the FAA comes asking you, you can explain to them that I did it the safest I could.
Yes.
That's all you want. I mean, by nature, helicopters are made to do things that aren't the safest. But you can make them as safe as possible.
Go below pre-PDF for Helicopter Land Ground School memberships. We have over 30 new videos we've uploaded in the last 10 months. Over 30. It might be even closer to 40 at this point. And we're uploading new content every week. Like, subscribe. See you next video.